for being here this evening. How's everybody doing tonight? Oh, wow. This is going to be a great... You're doing what? Doing good? Good? Brother Rick, how would you summarize how you guys are doing? Your wife just said good. I don't know if that's... Oh, wow. Great. That's awesome. Dr. Vose, we're asking folks how they're doing tonight. How you doing, sir? It's been a day. Wow. Corey, you? Doing okay. We got a good, great. We got it's been a day and doing all right. All right, let's go with Joe Flory. How you doing? Normal. Normal. Tired? All right, tired. Arlene? That's all you have to do right there. Arlene's answer was, ugh. So we get it. We get it. I'm so glad you're here tonight. Let's go ahead and stand together. We're going to sing a song. Brother Joe Flory's been helping us. Call of Daddy Parental War Zone. Love it. Love it. We're going to be singing Set Free this evening. It's a great, great song. Let's sing it together. Think about that time. Listen, if you were saved as a child, I mean, I was saved at 6 years old, so I've got a testimony as an older teenager of doing some really stupid things. But God saved me at an early age, and I know some people come to the Lord as an adult. And just think as you're singing this song, that bondage that you were in, the sin that had you bound for hell is gone. You've been set free. Look at these words, sing them out to the Lord tonight.
Surrender, laid out every way. Remember your love has broken all my chains. What you have finished cannot be undone. The work of the cross was more than enough. I've been set free. I've been set free. Oh, shame has no power over me. Found in your mercy, I've been washed clean. You call me whole, saved and redeemed. I've been set free. There is a promise written in your scars. I am forgiven, changed by who you are. What you have finished, I will not forget. I'm buried with Christ. I'm raised from the dead. I've been set free. I've been set free. Sin has no hold. Shame has no power over me. Found in your mercy, I've been washed clean. You call me whole, saved and redeemed. I've been set free. No longer bound in chains, no longer blind I see. This is amazing grace, Jesus alive in me. No longer bound in chains, no longer blind I see. This is amazing grace, Jesus alive in me. No longer bound in chains, no longer blind I see. This is amazing grace, Jesus alive in me. I've been set free. I've been set free. Sin has no hold, shame has no power over me. Found in your mercy, I've been washed clean. You call me whole, saved and redeemed. I've been set free. Yes, you call me whole, saved and redeemed. I've been set free.
Sir, leave me hang. Okay, good. I thought you might have seen it there. All right. right, well, let's have a word of prayer this evening. You can be seated there. Let's meet with the Lord just this evening, prepare our hearts for the service. Just have some fun things planned, but again, talking some more about the philosophy of the church built out of our theology, built out of what we believe. How are we putting that into practice as a church? I'm so excited. We're probably going to finish that up tonight, and then we're going to press into the share portion of our assimilation curriculum. And we call it our assimilation process. When new folks come into the church, we want them to make sure they know what we believe, why we believe it, what's our philosophy behind it, what's the verses we take that from. It's not an opinion, it's not somebody's study, it's not somebody's statistics, and so now we have to do this because so-and-so said so. We try to follow the Lord in those things. And so we've been talking about loving God, growing together, we're finishing up serving others, and then we're about to go into sharing Christ. And man, we just put so many hours into making sure it's exactly what we want as our theology of outreach and our philosophy of outreach, not only here from this building, but around the world. And I'm excited to share some of those things with you in the next little bit. Let's pray. Heavenly Father, Lord, thank you so much for this day that you have blessed us with, Lord. I'm so thankful, Lord, how you just provided throughout the day today the strength for what needed done. Lord, thank you for our staff, Lord, just on the front lines daily in the academy. Lord, I just pray that you'll continue to give them strength and wisdom as they lead in their areas. Lord, I pray for all the services going on around the building tonight, all the clubs and the nurseries. Lord, may you bless each and every teacher, each and every student, each and every child tonight. Keep them safe, Lord, as they're having some fun and those kinds of things. But Lord, may the message of your Son, Jesus Christ, Lord, your word, sink deeply into the hearts of our children as they grow in this crazier and crazier and, as you say, waxing worse and worse world. Lord, I just pray now that you'll give us courage in here tonight, give us a clear mind to study your word, and help us have a good time with one another. In your name I pray. Amen. All right, tonight's game is MCU Trivia Round 2. I think we did Round 1 last year. And so this is the Marvel Comics universe. How many are Marvel Comics fans? This would be Iron Man, Captain America, those guys. Not Superman, not Batman, that's DC. I said it wrong earlier today, and Pastor Lear actually punched me in the face. So he said, you're not allowed to make that mistake. I didn't know it was a thing, but it is a thing. And so now I'm squarely and firmly in the MCU universe. Because DC, I like Superman, but I got to take all of them, and there's some weird ones in there. I can't do DC. It's more Marvel. So, all right, it's going to be Miss Alyssa. I need you to grab the candy out of the office for me. And we're going to pick two people to go head-to-head in MCU trivia. And because the reaction was priceless, Miss Diane gets to go first tonight because I know she's an MCU fan. Yes. And the other person I saw that was totally excited about this was Karen Smith. Come on, Karen. The Marvel Comics expert. I heard these two women, out of anybody, will probably know every answer that is given today. Oh, I don't even have my answer sheet with me. All right. I think I know all of them. But my answer sheet's not here. But they have the answers on the screen, so we'll be fine. All right, here we go. Our first.
I'm not up there to do it, so.
Nice. Thank you, ma'am.
Why aren't you two places at once?
I know, how dare I?
Mounds, York, Peppermint Patties, Big Cup Reese's, some of the Pop Candy Hershey's again, Starburst. Oh, you guys are good tonight. Milky Way. All right. Here we go. What Marvel movie was the second release of the MCU universe? The second release. Come on, second Marvel. Huh? No. Take a guess. No. It's not Endgame. Endgame would be like the most recent one because it was the end of the game. So back way at the beginning, the second release. Take one more stab at it. Ooh, good guess, but no. No. Ladies, it was the Incredible Hulk. All right. If you both will get a candy, because everybody gets a candy here. Yeah. Diane is a winner. The Incredible Hulk. All right. Question number 2 is between Corey. Got to represent the Smiths better than that. Way better than that. Come on. Karen, you need to get up on your Marvel Comics, all right? And then against Corey, we certainly want Clark to come on up. And Clark, are you a secret Marvel Comics fan? He said, I'm going to the job, and he goes to the comic book store and buys all the rare copies up. Oh, yeah, I know you, man. All right, here we go. Second question. What villain first appears in Captain America and returns in Infinity War? Yes, it was Red Skull. I am a fan of yours now, Corey. Great job, man. Red Skull, super cool character. The first time I ever saw him, I was like, that's the coolest character ever. The black trench coat and everything. So cool, man. Thought about going, like, just making everything red and wearing a black trench coat. And I was like, oh, that's just pretend, so I won't do that. All right, next person. Let's do Joe Flory against David Clay. Come on up, David Clay. Now, David Clay has watched Marvel Comics, so, all right. I'm impressed with Red Skull. I had to stop for a couple minutes before I got that one. The first one I thought in my head was Winter Soldier, and then I was like, no, it's Red Skull. So. All right, here we go. It's question number 3. Which superhero in the MCU universe is the most wealthy?
Come on, that's the easiest.
Careful. Who's the most wealthy? I know, I guessed it wrong. That's exactly what I guessed, so no. Most wealthy. They might have the wealth of an entire country. Black Panther, there it is. I had to give a little hint. All right, go ahead, Mr. Clay. Black Panther, Wakanda forever. He probably could, but we're considering the thousands of acres of land and being a country.
This seems pretty subjective. How does the currency translate?
Well, if you were to ask the MC Universe, it would be Black Panther. All right, let's go with Mrs. Hoffer. Come on, Mrs. Hoffer. We know with those grandkids, you're always watching Marvel Comics. You're trying to get into it. Huh? No, you cannot use your phone. And it's going to be you and Miss Jillian Jensen. She's coming right behind you to also not know the answer to... Well, you got kiddos, so you know. You guys got to get in this. Huh? No, there's no A or B. You have to know this. All right, let's see if you know it. Tanelier Tyven is better known as...
Do you guys know?
No.
Open to the audience. This is a tough one.
What's his colors?
Wow, wait.
Like stop. What the letter? What the name letter?
Black and...
Does he have a map?
What the stop letter?
We'll go on to another one. That one's really tough.
What's the answer? Yeah.
The Collector. Yeah, that's down in the archives. He was like B team, and then got cut to the D League. It was he's like, man, I want to get back to the pros, and they're like, no, you'll be a trivia question that nobody knows. All right, here we go. What is the name of Thor's sister?
Oh, I know.
You know this, Mrs. Hoffer. You know the name of Thor's sister. He says it. Yes.
I know what she looks like.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Ah, come on. Somebody give her the first letter.
E.
No.
H.
H.
H is the first letter.
Yes.
She looks like there's a whole movie about her.
There is a whole movie matter.
Where you go if you don't believe in Jesus and add an A.
Hella, there it is. Hey. Mrs. Hoffer teaches the second and third, or what did you teach? The fourth, fifth, and sixth grade. Good night. I can't remember where she was teaching. 4th, 5th, and 6th graders. No, 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th this year. Last year was 4th through 6th. This year it's 3rd through 6th. So that was spelling and all that stuff. That was a little much for her. It was like, whoa, don't school. All right, Miss Tanya, come on ahead. You're next against Dawn.
Oh, Mr. Dawn.
She's got teenage boys and young kids. You should know these things. Yeah, Isaac needs to come up here. All right, here we go. How long was Captain America asleep? Oh, this is easy. Come on.
Price is right.
Huh? 53 years. 73 years. You're the closest. He was asleep for 65 years. You may get a candy. 65 years. That's a good nap. That is like, you should feel rested after that. All right, let's go with Jason Vose against Michael Rupp. Yes. Michael Rupp, did you just walk in a few minutes ago?
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't see you earlier.
I was in traffic.
Oh. All right, here we go. What is the name of Tony Stark's bodyguard?
Wes? Odd job.
No. Yes. Instead of angry, he was.
Happy.
And his last name would be. Come on, brother. All us Hulkamaniacs.
Look faster from you.
Huh?
Hogan?
Yes, Hogan. There you go. It was Happy Hogan. Jason, what a great victory that was. Make sure you probably need 2 after all of that.
Super Bowl.
Happy Hogan. All right, and let's go Maddie. Maddie's got to get involved. Come on, Maddie. Against Miss Arlene's already been up here. Let's go. Come on, Emily. Come on up. Emily and Maddie, you are dressed about just alike tonight. No, black, sorry. I thought you had jeans on.
I very rarely have jeans.
You guys got the pink memo, though. Here we go. What is the name of the alien trying to start a revolution on the trash planet in Thor Ragnarok?
No.
You are a fan.
Yeah, I'm telling you.
Corey's all over it, man. Huh? No. But Corey can guess it and then give the candy bar to who he likes better. And then we're gonna find out some real Christianity about right now.
Is it Korg?
Huh?
Korg?
It's Kurg, yes. I think it's Kurg. K-U-R-G? K-O-R-G. I had K-U-R-G, sorry.
All right, so I get to
Yeah, yeah. Do you like Maddie or Emily
see who
more as
loves
your friend?
candy the most. I'm gonna cut the candy in half.
Oh, I like it. No, don't give it to my friend. Keep it whole. Save the candy bar.
Pastor Schwender gets it.
Thank you, brother. No, one of you got to take it. What do you want? What do you want, Emily?
I don't know.
You want a Bounds?
Something that the kids will eat?
Oh, they will not eat that. Starburst? Get something. The pop, yeah, the candy pop. Yeah, the pop candy. That would definitely get them. They'll love that. All right, how many more we got? We got 3 more. Let's do this. All right, Miss Joy against Miss Megan. Come on up. Oh, Jenny, you were behind Arlene's messy bun. You were doing that on purpose. All right, you guys ready? Here we go. How many Iron Man suits has Tony Stark made by the time of Infinity War? So if you remember Infinity War, didn't it have a number on it? Or a Roman numeral on it? Yes. 50. That is exactly right. 50. The 50th suit was called Mark L. Great job, Miss Megan, guessing a number that you had no idea what it was. All right, let's go with Miss Jenny. You're not getting out of it now. Come on, Miss Jenny. You and Miss Tara are coming to the front right now. Did you hear that gasp of excitement she had? I heard the guy. It was like, I get to do this.
Y'all know that. You can put up makes and models of vehicles and years. This, no. You should just take the candy.
All right, let's try it. Here we go. In Guardians of the Galaxy, the Kree enemy is named Ronan the what?
I only know Groot.
Yeah, yeah.
It's the only name I know.
Do you know Mr. Corey?
I'm not sure. I know.
Does anybody know? Go ahead, Mr. Clay.
It's Ronan the Conqueror.
No. No.
Oh, that's Kang the Conqueror.
Yep.
Ronan the.
Ronan the
Ronan
Destroyer.
the.
Accuser.
Boy,
But Miss Jenny, if you really need a candy bar, it is there. All right, last one. Let's go with Kevin Rose and Trey Carr. Come on ahead. Trey, are you a Marvel Universe person? Do you do any of the comics? Not so much. All right. This is going to be good. Here we go. What is the name of the bridge that connects Asgard and Midgard? It's definitely a rainbow, yes.
that was really close.
Do you have any other guess than that?
Yes, you do, Kevin.
No, you don't, Kevin.
Come on, Kevin. Starts with B.
I did my best.
It's not Mid-Frost. Do you say mid?
Yeah, that's what I remember.
It's the first part of.
Easy. You got any guess? No. We're going to give it to Kevin. It's Bifrost. Bifrost. Who's got it? All right, there we go. That is the MC Universe Volume 2. Now, Volume 1 was way easier than that. A little more obvious answers. If they do a Volume 3, we'll all just sit here and just look at the answers and then give everybody a candy bar at the end. And we'll learn trivia, and then we'll hand out candy. So that was a hard one. I think I got 3 in the office this afternoon. It was not pretty. So I would have not done well if I was a contestant this evening. All right, we're going to have some prayer time now. So let's go ahead and we'll just break down into our groups right now and spend about 5 or 10 minutes together. And make sure you gather. We have some visitors, some folks who haven't been here before, so if we can gather some up together in groups of 3 or 4 or 5, whatever you want to do, we'll have some time for prayer.
Oh, you can come back.
Started.
No, thank you. know what? Pray for Katie. Let the because Sunday he lives in church, he's following like that. And we saw the old one out from the church and he was Probably over flat. She will, but she still have running that little girl. I know. She planned to go out this week Sunday. She birthday couple 2 weeks ago. She wanted to go like outside, something, chocolate, something, special. It's such a good, it's a tough one. Everything was planned. Volunteer member. But she's like, I have some see specialists next week, so hopefully they can our surgery schedules.
with A&H, they were in between. And I still staying with them. I have to have surgery in Pittsburgh, but it was the soonest appointment I could get. So I'm like, Monroeville, Pittsburgh, I'll drive to Pittsburgh. So I thought about going back to West Virginia because that's where I had all my Elijah appointments, and I really like that doctor. But I don't want to get through all the process and all the time wasted.
Oh, yeah. My sister loves in Bungie. She had surgery on Monday. And the doctor did something. But like a later version. She had Hitler the other day. We get I don't know what the knife and finger or something. But now she like hurt and cannot see. And then she have to one dog. And this one started Monday, and the doctor wrap up and sign up or something like that. Now feel like she's pain and then she cannot see. Like she grew. She do surgery this Monday. And because she got 1 hour week Monday, this week she got there and like wrap her eye something inside. Now she cannot see now. You'll call her this morning. Oh no, yesterday. I think she tried to grab the phone. She told me and she emailed back yesterday. I'm off. She said the doctor I don't know something.
The doctor gave me 6 months. My mom was like,
So I hate to give, yeah, they give you time, and then I'm just people that have exceeded the time.
it's been like constantly, I'm like, why are you doing this? But she wants to be prepared, so what happens is I don't worry about it. She's a planner. Honestly, if all could have had that plan, I started to do that. My mom's not. I could have had a plan for her funeral and everything. And I was like, this is good to do whenever you're not in the middle of the obituary. That's not what went on. Because she remembers when my grandpa died, my grandma was just like, okay, right, put it in there. So she wrote out the whole page. They used this, like, everything was ready.
That's something I would do. Yeah, that's what I would like.
So by the time they caught it, he had lost too much brain matter. Did you give him medicine to try to slow it down?
Oh, I've never seen so much longer.
She's like 60 something, 60. And he get lost so quickly too. You see, 1 week ago,
I don't know her name. I just saw her name. So she's 31 weeks. Even today.
yeah.
She's never here. I don't know her on Sundays. I know her on Sunday nights. I think she made it to 31 weeks. And she was very warm.
2 days after. And she's like, that's like
Yes. Yes. Yes, it is. Now. I have to search for it. I have to look for anyone who gets her too soon.
I know he was in the play with Brandon.
I live at Sunday on Sunday. Only because once I met her on Sunday night, then I saw where she sat on Sundays. I'm like, oh, okay. And then when I showed you what's her
Better change the approach.
Yeah, how's your, so Thursday night, you guys are, I just wanted to go to that, but it's so hard with my son's schedule.
Lord, we just come before you, just thank you for this time, that we can encourage each other.
I mean, anybody can talk.
Hear each other's words, just encourage, encourage.
I know, it seems like we have a game every single night.
They do have a lot of games.
It's a college.
Grace, Son, Lord, just as
I went to see you yesterday. I think I was supposed to go elbow in the eye yesterday. She's like contact. That was a rough game. This is very quiet. They were cold.
Whenever Crick gets arrested, like I either have to drive away, like I leave him there, or I can't watch. It's if you hover over, it's like he comes from the bloody left.
Mine has fractured thumbs. So I'm still trying to play with fractured thumbs.
There's a cartoon or yeah.
He'll be fine.
That's where the name came from. He was almost Sterling after. They just did their last season.
tell others about you, show them who you are by how you minister to your people. I pray that you would just be a great example of testament to your people. Who you are, what you are, like
Did you talk about your station in between? You're working from home.
I could see it. I know the person I know. I thought I knew my Marvel stuff really. And that's where it was being on nothing. I want to watch the order that they were supposed to not the order that yeah, so apparently there's an order that they're supposed to watch them because like they like chronologically happen. Sort of, they didn't do it where they like is the beginning, yeah. They didn't do it like that. They did it more like
Very clear.
I didn't really get it. So he wants to be on that. After I caught up on the whole later, like Avengers, and you're supposed to watch like this one and this one and that was Spider-Man.
They have housing and
Those are
everything.
cool. I want to watch it.
Supposedly, so I don't know.
I don't know if it's the same one, but my neighbor, she just got another job. She was working for the Social Security office, but she was on remote.
I'm still
I know it's not in your realm, so it's not remote.
Hear what he needs to hear.
All right, if you want to head back to your seats there. Brother Joe Flory is coming to lead our next song this evening. Let's stand together to sing As the Deer. Did you just woo for yourself? Oh, who wooed for him? It was you. See, are you his biggest fan? Woo! Miss Tia, be nicer.
As the deer panteth for the water, so my soul longeth after thee. You alone are my heart's desire, and I long to worship you. You alone are my strength, my shield. To you alone may my spirit yield. You alone are my heart's desire, and I long to worship you. You're my friend and you are my brother, even though you are a king. I love you more than any other, so much more than anything. You alone are my strength, my shield. To you alone may my spirit yield. You alone are my heart's desire, and I long to worship you. I want you more than gold or silver, only you can satisfy. You alone are my real joy giver and the apple of my eye. You alone are my strength, my shield. To you alone may my spirit yield. You alone are my heart's desire, and I long to worship you.
Yes, sir. You can be seated there. All right, if you want to get your studies out there, we are on the last part of the serve class. And we're on the section that says about training. So sometimes in churches, the question comes up, how do you get people who say, all right, I want to teach junior church? I've never done that before. I would like to do that. Well, first of all, we want to make sure they're a member of the church. And being a member of the church means that they've been saved, have a relationship with Jesus Christ, and they have been scripturally baptized by immersion. and they're a member of our church. They might be a member of another church, they might be a great person, but when you start talking about serving in a church, I would say probably 25% of the reason is legal. You don't want people who are not members, who don't agree with what you're, or have espoused to what you agree with and what you believe, to be doing something of influence. But secondly, you want to make sure that it's somebody who has the vision of the church. And if somebody has been in that church for a while and has not become a member, there's an issue there. And I'm not saying that they are the issue. I'm saying maybe they were burned at another church, and that's the issue. And they're kind of standing off and like, I don't know if I want to take that plunge. I don't know if I want to try this again. And I understand that totally. But we have to have an organized system as a church that says, how do we assimilate people into a ministry that have never been in that ministry? We don't just take somebody and throw them in the deep end of the pool and be like, you can do it. We don't try. That's not our method. And we don't think by giving people responsibility that makes them faithful. We want to have faithful people taking on responsibilities. And so this section is about training. That's the first blank there. Every leader is a learner. Every leader is a learner. The moment you stop learning, you stop leading. If you've ever been in a class where somebody has taught for 20 years, I've been in classes where people have taught 20 years, and it's my favorite class in the world. And then I've been in classes where the professor's been there for 20 years, and it's dry as cracker juice. Like, it is bad. It is terrible. Why? Because one person stopped learning. Somebody stopped growing. They didn't realize the new generation and maybe some of the exuberance you have to have, or maybe a visual illustration, or go outside of the curriculum and bring something in, or a personal experience. And you can tell the people that are leaders that are still learning because they're always growing. You're always watching them grow. You're always hearing new things, new subject matters, things that they're interested in, things they have a vision for, things they have a burden for. And that's what we want in the church. We want leaders that are learners. I have zero desire to put somebody in charge of a situation that has the attitude of, you do not have to train me, I got this. That is not the attitude we want in the church. Because the I got this means you're bringing in your preconceived idea, your preconceived experiences, and your preconceived way of doing things. And so that might be great. It might come to the place where you're eventually doing basically what you've always done. But we want to make sure as a church, when we're talking about training, we're always learning, we're always growing, we're always coming into new things. I actually 2 years ago put 300 books down into the library from my personal library. And today, 2 or 3 years later after doing that, my shelves are full again. I have no more space on my shelves. And you're like, oh, why do you buy so many books? Because I always want to learn. I'm always reading. I always want to further my knowledge on things, not just preaching. I just read a book called Shattering the Glass Slipper. Great book on your mindset about life and not being a fantasy, somebody who lives in a fantasy world, but a reality world, and be able to assess things. Great book. If you ever want a great book on just assessing life and things you can do in life, it's Shattering the Glass Slipper. I just got done reading that. What a great book. I'm reading a book on John right now, the Apostle John right now. I'm reading a book on Kingdom Marriage by Tony Evans. I'm reading a book right now on the Traveler Summit by Andy Andrews. Great writer. So why? I don't have sometimes any expertise in those areas, but if I'm going to stand here week after week for 52 weeks a year, I can't just draw on what I'm reading in 10 verses or in 12 verses. I've got to be reading. I've got to be gathering knowledge. I need to know about science. I want to know about history. I want to know about these things. And you've always got to be learning. That's the attitude we want of somebody taking on responsibility in the church. I don't know it all. I bring some expertise to it. I bring some experience to it. But I want to be a team player. I want to figure out how to do this where everybody is growing and I'm growing and we're continuing to grow together. So that example, that philosophy of ministry comes from 2 Timothy chapter 2, verse 15. A few verses before that, it even says, do the work of an evangelist, and it talks about some things that you can be doing as a servant for the Lord. But 2 Timothy 2:15 says, study to show thyself approved unto God, a workman that needs not to be ashamed, rightly dividing the word of truth. Being a learner, being somebody who's always studying the word of God, comparing it to other things. If you're reading something, why is that wrong? Because the scriptures say this, and you're always learning. So we emphasize on-the-job training more than pre-service training. We learn best by doing. We learn best by doing. We delegate in order to develop people. We delegate in order to develop people. Here's what I mean. Pastor Schwender cannot run every ministry. I cannot train the Flyers Club people downstairs how to do Flyers Club. But I do know people who've done Flyers Club, and I do know people who have done it in the past, who are doing it now, who are experts in that area. So I don't have to teach everybody everything, but we delegate, okay? Miss Michelle and Melody Freeman have worked with children that age for probably half of their life. I can put them in that area, and then when somebody wants to join, they're training those people in those ministries. Same thing with Jason and Diane Vose. Derek and Joy Hoffer, they have Kevin and Rita Kibe in there right now, and they're learning from, Kevin and Rita are learning from Derek and Joy. And then at the end, I'm going to ask Brother Jason and Miss Diane if they'll just spend 1 week or 2 weeks with the Kibes and see what they're doing. Maybe they can offer them a few tips. And why? Because we want people to be trained. We delegate that. I can't do that on a Sunday morning. But if it's Jason Vose's month to go into junior church, he can do that. And that's how we develop people. People that have the vision, have the attitude, have the service mind, and now they're leading others. As Paul said, what did he say? The things that you have seen and heard, things that you have heard and seen. Nope, I'm missing one of them.
Looked upon, your hands have handled. That's John.
It was Paul. He said, I didn't write it down, so of course I don't remember it. But he was talking about, I lost it now. Anyways, about developing. We accomplish this training process by having, number one, this is our philosophy that we put together as a ministry. Okay, so this is how I took the youth group last August of 23. Yeah, August of 23, I took over the youth group when Daniel and Lauren were leaving. And I was not trying to do a swap out and, okay, they're going to leave, so I'm going to no, I wanted to make sure it was the right person. Yes? Learned and received and heard. And then he even says in another verse that you've seen and heard of me, to pass on to faithful men, that they may be able to teach others also. It's always about delegating to people so that they can delegate to people, so they can lead people, so that people are always being reached, always being grown, always being serving, always going back out and sharing. And so last August, I took the youth group, and Brother Trout so Kyle Criswell was taking over. So this is practical, boots on the ground. This is how it happened. Last August, when school was about to start, Kyle Criswell said he wanted to take over King's Kids. He was one of the couples in junior church, and he was going to take over King's Kids. So when the school year started, I had Brother Trout continuing to do King's Kids. And for 4 weeks, Brother Kyle and Miss Lori Criswell went in King's Kids and watched, just maybe even 3 weeks. I think I might have done it 3 weeks. So for 3 weeks, yes, it was 3 weeks. For 3 weeks, they just watched Brother Trout do the ministry. They sat on the sidelines, watched how they did, what was their temperament, did they split the girls and guys up, what kind of games did they play? Just watch, observe, take notes, do what you got to do. The next 3 weeks, they were helping. And so they're helping Brother Trout. He says, hey, we're going to do verse time. Can you help the kids with verse time? I need to do restrooms now. Hey, can you get the snack out? Hey, can you help organize this game? So for 3 weeks, they're helping. They're assisting Brother Trout. Then for 3 weeks, Brother Trout was Brother Kyle's assistant. So he came alongside of Brother Kyle, and Brother Kyle's like, hey, I was thinking about this game tonight. Can you help me organize this? Hey, can you help me with this? Can we get these guys over here? We're going to do this tonight. And Kyle was Brother Trout was Brother Kyle's assistant. Then, for 3 more weeks, Brother Trout did nothing, and he sat on the sidelines and watched Brother Kyle do the ministry by himself. debrief afterwards, throw some things back and forth together. What could we have done better? What do you see? How is it? And everybody's got that spirit. We want this ministry to grow. We want it to go forward. We want it to get bigger. We want it to be more influential. And so that's how that happened. So immediately after that happened, we brought Brother Trout into the youth group. And he watched me for 3 weeks. Then he was my assistant for 3 weeks. Then I was his assistant for 3 weeks. And then I watched, me and Miss Rachel sat back and just watched for 3 weeks as God just began to already turn the thing into a miracle of what Brother Trout, God has used him to do. And then January, I stepped out. I came back in here the second week of January to teach, and the transitions were done. That's the philosophy of the ministry. Does that take a long time? Absolutely. But I want Kyle Criswell teaching King's Kids in 12 years if God wants him to keep doing it and not be burned out. I'm just trying to make it all up myself. Nobody ever trained me. I've just been trying to look for stuff myself this whole time. I've heard people say stuff like that. Nobody came alongside of him and trained him. Nobody helped him find curriculum. Nobody gave him resources. Nobody encouraged them along the way. They put him in a room, and 10 years later, oh, are you quitting on us now? Like, what's wrong with you? Like, no, that cannot be the attitude in the church. And so we want to make sure people are trained. They fully understand. They know where the resources are. Brother Kyle knows if he has any question in King's Kids, the first person he contacts is Brother Trout. That's the first person, because that was the person who trained him. He's on the staff. He contacts Brother Trout, and then Brother Trout can bring that to me. Sometimes he has to bring it to Brother Pastor Lear. Maybe it's about an outing they're doing or a snack they're getting, or maybe they're doing pizza night or something. All of that runs opposite from me. I don't have to know those things. There are things I do end up knowing. So much fun to always know some of the things. I can tell you that nobody's usually meeting with me and telling me how great I am and how great we're doing as a church. It's usually some trouble some kid's in, and he's punched 4 kids in King's Kids, and now I got to meet with them. That's the meetings I get as pastor. But that's how transitions work. So if you just look at the process, you watch the leader, then you help the leader, then the leader helps you, then the leader watches you, then the leader moves on. And if you were to write number 6 under there, put number 6 down, now you're the leader. What does that mean? That means you need to be praying about who it is that you're going to pour your life into. Who are you going to train? Maybe God wants you there for 5 years. Praise God. Maybe he wants you there for 10 years. That's wonderful. But there's going to come a season where you're not going to be doing that ministry anymore. And that's okay. And we're going to talk about some of that stuff here in a minute. It's okay not to be doing that ministry again. What's not okay is for you to just put your hands up and say, I'm done, and not have delegated and developed somebody else to step in, because they're coming into that season in their life where they're ready to serve, and they've got ideas, and they're creative, and they got game ideas, and they got messages, and they got tons of stuff, and they're just waiting for you and your season to be done, and you delegate, and you develop them, and then you take them, and you give them that area to lead as they're excited to lead on. So then we put down on diversity of ministry, on diversity of ministry. I would say this is a true statement about Bible Baptist Church. We have unity without uniformity. We have unity without uniformity. Miss Tiny, what does that mean to you? You've been here for 4 years now, going on 5 years this year. When I say we are a church of unity, we know what uniformity is. Just maybe give a testimony of that, just for 30 seconds, just what comes to your mind.
We're all on the same page. We know our beliefs, like the basic core doctrines, and we all agree with that. We're all headed in the same direction. But we may have individual preferences that make us diverse, but we all support the main cause and go forward.
Yeah, I would say that that's about as accurate as you can be. It's the spirit about who we are. Not about, well, what do you do, and how do you look, and how much money do you have in the bank, and what do you drive, and what can you bring to the table, and what talents do you, like, there's a ton of things before we should ever think about somebody's talent or somebody's, somebody's pocket, oh man, if they came to this church, we'll be doing really good. Like, no, none of that. None of that is why we have a church. We have unity here, and the unity is we're all going the same direction, trying to accomplish the same thing. And you can tell when somebody's going against that grain. you can tell when somebody's on a different page. You'll hear them. You'll hear them say something, and it'll sound totally off from everybody's in the auditorium. Man, I love coming to this church. Man, I've been having such a wonderful time. Pastor, thank you for that message. It really helped me. Oh, man, I didn't know you were here today. And I'm hearing all this chatter around, and then somebody comes in. Did you see the women's restroom? Oh, goodness, you think somebody cleaned that thing? Like, whoa. Something doesn't sound like all the rest. Does that make sense? That's somebody who's not unified. Does the girls' bathroom need clean? Probably. You could be in there 24 hours a day, 7 days a week in that boys' bathroom and in the gym bathroom. Good luck. You probably won't survive. It is nasty up in that gym bathroom. We scrub that thing and it's nasty. And when we talk about unity in the church, we're talking about everybody going the same direction for the cause, for the vision. We're having this friend day. Man, I haven't heard one negative comment. When I was growing up, we had a friend day at our church. And I remember like it was yesterday. We were having a friend. It was like we were doing buses. The buses were doing a big day. The church was having a big day. I think they ended up getting up in church and telling, I think we had 1,200 in between the bus children and the church people there. I think we had like 1,200 people there or something on this friend day. And I was thinking, this is amazing. What a great day. And I remember like it was yesterday, I went to Sunday school, and I walked past this lady, and it was a lady I respected. And we have this friend day, and there's tons of people that have never been in our church. And we walk down the hall, I'm going to Sunday school to Mr. Worley's class. And I hear this lady say, can you believe how some of these people have dressed today to come to friend day? You think if you were going to a church, you'd have a little respect. You know what that is? That's not unity. That's somebody who desires uniformity. That is somebody who's saying, you can't really be around here if you don't look like us, you don't talk like us, you don't have it all figured out. Like, listen, if that's your idea of this church, then you can just head down to another church and find your uniform. I promise you there's churches out there that got the uniform. We don't need it. We don't want it. We want unity. Unity of mind and heart and spirit. I couldn't believe that woman said that. Listen, on this friend day we have coming up, I hope the filthiest sinner that has ever lived walks through that door on friend day. Because number one, he's a friend of Jesus's, and Jesus would stop and give him the gospel. And number two, it would probably shake us to our core if we actually had some people who were in some deep, deep stuff actually walk in this auditorium and need somebody to love them out of that, and they don't have a perfect world going on. I've watched what happens from time to time when somebody really bad comes in this room. I've seen it. I've heard it. I've heard the comments. That's not this church anymore. That's not what we want. We want unity. We'll love you. We're not going to keep you alone with our kids, maybe. You don't get to be in charge of the of security and run around the building, so have a seat. But we love you, and we're friends. And I'll be here for you no matter what. Because that's exactly the way Jesus would be. Man, I'm reading the life of Jesus over and over and over just in my studies just for this year. And it's been so refreshing to see that Jesus cared zero what people thought about who he was talking to and who he was eating with and who he was out to lunch with and who he stopped and talked with. He could have cared. Actually, he probably cared a lot because he wanted the Pharisees to see him. He wanted the Sadducees to say something, I would imagine, because every single time he talked about their hypocritical attitude. But for the grace of God, you and I was watching a video the other day, but for the grace of God, we would be homeless. I know a man personally that works 40 hours a week that is absolutely homeless. He lives in New York. Works 40 hours a week, works a full-time job, sometimes 50 hours a week, cannot afford a house, rent, anything in New York, and just got kicked out of his living situation. Homeless, working 40 hours a week, 50 hours a week. Homeless. But by the grace of God, gas isn't $14 a gallon the way some of these crazy people are acting. That we can get to work, that we can earn an income, that we can care for others, that we can go to the grocery store and get food. Some of the stuff that's happening, I'm going, goodness gracious. We want people here, hurting people, healthy people. Jesus Christ himself said, I didn't come to talk to the people that are doing good. You need to be here. If you're doing good, be here. He said, I came to get the ones that are sick. I came to rescue the ones that are hurting, the ones that are distraught, the ones that have been abandoned. Those are the ones we've got to reach. I got to grow up in a Christian home, even though my parents were divorced. I went to a Christian school every day of my schooling. I got to go to church every day of my life. Some people didn't get that chance. And this church needs to be unified in that idea of who we're trying to reach. I don't care if you're religious, we want you. I don't care if you're dirty, we want you. I don't care if you have a past, we want you. I don't care if you're distraught, we want you. I don't care if you feel hopeless, we want you. You don't understand your gender, we want you. You're not really sure about guys and girls and all this, we want you. You're a little confused about your gender, we want you. We want you to be here because we will love that person and hopefully love them to Jesus. And when he makes the changes, they will last forever. Because I don't want somebody in a uniform. I want a church with unity. And that's what we want to be. That's our philosophy. That's our belief. That is what we want to do. You can read Romans 12, 3-5. Therefore I say, through the grace given unto me, to every man that is among you, not to think of himself more highly than he ought to think, but to think soberly according to God, as God hath dealt to every man a measure of faith. For as we have many members in one body, and all members have not the same office, so we being many are one body in Christ, and every one members one of another. Unity, not uniformity. Any member who has completed the serve class may start a new ministry with the assistance of the ministry supervisor. That simply means you are here on Wednesday night. That means that person should be in Wednesday night services. If I have somebody serving every Sunday morning in a ministry, they need to be in Wednesday night serve class. They need to be in the assimilation class. After this, we're going to go through a Bible curriculum that I have. When we're done with this series, we're going to go into, it's going to be more, it's called Avoiding Confusion, and I've been praying a lot about this gender stuff and social justice and been putting some series of things together, and we're going to go into that next. That statement doesn't mean I was there all year and a half of the classes, now I can start a ministry. It simply means that's a phrase we use to say this person should probably be in Bible study on Wednesday night before we give them a big responsibility to do something that's keeping them out of a service. Because if they're out of a service, and obviously I don't think we have anybody out of a service every single week. Nurseries we rotate, junior churches we rotate, Flyers Club we rotate. So we try to rotate it, and also at the same time on Wednesday night, sometimes people pick up ministry. So my wife is never in Wednesday night Bible study. So I tell her I do not want her out of Sunday morning services. The ministry she has keeps her in services, or she does something else during the week. Because she would miss, if she put herself in another ministry, she'd probably miss 2 months at a time or doing something else. So anyways, that's the philosophy behind that people should not be serving unless they have been faithful and understand the philosophy behind what we do. Every ministry must fill one or more of the basic purposes of the church, and the greater good of the whole body must always take priority over the needs of any single ministry. Every ministry must fill one or more of the basic purposes of the church, and the greater good of the whole body must always take priority over the needs of any single ministry. So our purposes, does anybody know? Loving God, growing together, serving others, sharing Christ. We call it connect, but it's connecting to God. Opportunities for you to connect to God. That's what a Sunday morning service is. Worship services are loving God more. That's how we can love God. We're in the preaching. We're doing Bible studies, growing together, activities, different games, different church-wide things, lunches after service. These are all growing together opportunities. Serving together. Obviously, we serve. Every single Sunday, people are serving. We have 68% of our church involved in serving. And then sharing Christ. That's what community care and obviously friend days and these kinds of things is you're privately witnessing to folks, and then publicly we go into our neighborhood and our community to try to witness to our community. Every ministry has to fill one of those purposes. If it does not fill a purpose of those things, then we do not do it. or we might have to move on from one that is no longer fulfilling those purposes. And I'm going to say this and then give me a chance to defend what I say, okay? We had to stop the bus ministry. Now, if you take the bus ministry, would that help us to love God more by bringing children to church? Absolutely. He said, suffer the little children to come unto me. That would be a great ministry to be able to have. Does it help us grow together? Absolutely. We got to pull together, and we've got to try to go out and get these children, and there's maintenance people, and there's people filling up the buses, and then there's people that run to the doors, and there's secretaries, and yes, there's absolutely an opportunity to grow together, serving together. Serving others, absolutely. We're serving the families. We're giving them a service, and then sharing Christ, obviously, seeing children, teenagers, adults get saved through the bus ministry. It would fill every single one of those things. But there is a life cycle to ministries. I'll give you an example. When I worked for Bob Bevington 22 years ago in Knoxville, Tennessee, he was the most popular preacher on the radio, and he was on one FM station and one AM station. And very popular, had a radio program for like 30 years. People would be going home. He was at the 5 o'clock rush hour. He had the spot on the radio. 5 years later, nobody would take him. Nobody would put it on the radio. Radio is good in foreign countries right now. Third world countries, things like that, are just getting into radio and really utilizing radio. America has moved past kind of that radio station. We're into Sirius XM, and there's podcasts, and there's all these things. And so if I said, all right, we're going to start a radio program through the church, well, that's about 20 years late. So there are ministries that have life cycles. And so sometimes a ministry has to, as I put here, there must be periodic reviews of all ministries. We do what is inspected, not just what is expected. Best intentions are not enough. Ministries have life cycles. If a ministry isn't meeting a need anymore, we will give it a decent burial. And that's what we do with the bus ministry. I recognize the time that Mr. Melvin had spent driving those buses. We recognize that in our church. We pointed that out. We want to thank the Lord for the faithfulness and all those that were on the bus routes. It's a mode of transportation and a mode of outreach that has passed us by. After COVID, we tried for about 8 weeks to try to get it off the ground and try to get kids to come. And maybe there'll be a revival of that and a reviving of that mode. But after that isolation and parents being with their kids, and then everything we've seen on television and creepy people and all these people taking advantage of children and trafficking and all this stuff, it has been absolutely shut down. And so we thank the Lord for it. From 1961 until 2019, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of children were influenced and brought to church by mode of a bus route and seen saved and trusted the Lord as their Savior. And what's God doing now? There's more advertising. We can get on Facebook. We literally can stand right here, pay $50, and advertise within a 20-mile radius of something we have going on at our church. Maybe a little bit more than $50, I don't know, but it's pennies to blast an advertisement on everybody's Facebook page and Instagram page. Within 20 miles of here, we can pay a fee and it'll blast an ad of an event that we have coming up. It's a different day. You know, I'm not going to the radio trying to write down this number, 1-800-22, like people are driving down the road. I always crack up when the radio does that. They're like, write this number down. I'm like, you don't want people writing the number down. If you're driving, listening to the radio, do not write this down. But I always hear people say that. But it's outdated. We can do other things to reach more people. And so we have life cycles of ministries. I don't know. I've seen ministries that were on life support that have revived and come back and are healthy and are doing good. Our school was down to 13 students. A few years back, we had 13 students, and I truly just gave it to the Lord. Is the life cycle of Bible Baptist Christian Academy over? Is this a purging process, or is this the death knell? Do we need to shut it down? I'm not prideful enough to try to do something that isn't God's will. And so just begin to pray and advertise a little bit and just do what we could do. And started this year with 90 students. Picked up a few along the way. So what you do is you trust the Lord to know what ministries we should have, what ministries we shouldn't have, and then trust the leadership to know the life cycle of that ministry. That they're not taking your ministry away. They're simply, the ministry is not the most important thing, the person is. And so we don't want to keep somebody in something that isn't being blessed or maybe needs to move on in a different season of life. We request a time commitment to each ministry, but we allow people to change ministries gracefully without guilt. We don't lock people in permanently. Let your speech be always with grace, seasoned with salt, that you may know how you ought to answer every man. Next week, we'll finish up with the performance and the primary ministry commitments, and we'll might get into a little bit of the share class, but I'll finish that serve class up. We'll finish that next week, and we'll press on into share. Got some good stuff I want to give you in the share class. Just really solid things of why we do what we do. We don't do it like everybody. And God didn't command us to do it like everybody. He said, go into all the world and preach. There's no, you do it this way, only this way. This is how you do it. God shows us that there are many, many different ways for the gospel to be delivered. And we're thankful for that. Let's go ahead and stand. If we could get the upcoming events, and then we'll have a word of prayer here. Got basketball games. Last night we went up to Plum, played Redeemer Lutheran, and a fight broke out. No, it wasn't a fight, but it's a pretty physical game, man. And I didn't even get a technical. Can everybody just golf clap for me? Thank you. And you can ask Brother Trout. I calmed Brother Trout down. Yes, I did. You can ask him. He was about to get a technical, and I was like, whoa, brother, easy now. Come on. Can't believe he loses temper. Have a seat, brother. Don't complain about the officials. Who does that? No, he's doing a great job with the boys, but we were getting beat up pretty bad last night. Colin came home with a busted lip, and he's got blood coming down his elbow, and Justin got whacked and split his lip down the middle and got choked out one time. This kid grabbed him by the neck, and I was very proud of our young men. They kept their cool. I could see it in their faces. They're like, I'm going to punch you right in the face. And then we're trying to be like, no, let's love the other team. let's be kind. I know you're getting beat up out there. We're like, we're rooting for you guys over here. Like, go get them. But we had a great time last night. But if you can just pay attention to the rest of these games coming up. Tomorrow we go to, that's not correct. You went too far in the schedule. There it is. 9th tomorrow is the 8th. Away, we're going to Katanning tomorrow, up into Katanning, so if you want to go to that game with us. And then the 9th, Friday, is a West Virginia trip with the boys. We'll be staying overnight at a hotel, and then we'll be back Saturday around noon-ish for that away game, and then we can get into the rest of the schedule on Sunday. Get your schedules there. Friday is February the 18th, and we've been talking about that. Get some more of the invites on the back table back there. If you invite a coworker, a neighbor, I've invited 2 people already, and so get you a couple of the invites. And do we have anybody signed up online yet, Pastor Lear? No. Any people or visitors? Come on now. Don't make me nervous. I've already told them what we're eating, and I've told them how many are eating it, so... I don't have a final number to them, but I said we're going to definitely have at least 50 there. I mean, people bringing people, and the friends, and we'll definitely have 50 people. So could you help me out? I would appreciate it. So to bring somebody that you have a burden for. This isn't just let's have a meal. It's a way to show people that we love them. We're here for them. Anything that they need, we want to be there for them. So let's see if we can get at least maybe 15, 20 visitors here on that Sunday with their families and our families, and we'll have a great time for Friend Day. And then the Valentine's date night, next Wednesday night, there is no service here. You can drop your children off from 6 to 9 and take your spouse out for a date night, and then be back here by 9-ish. And if you can give a donation to our child care folks, I sure would appreciate that. And they will certainly, the youth group, it's not for the youth group, it's actually for the school, and they're using it to go on their trip later. I think it's in May. They're taking a trip to amusement parks and those kinds of things. So If you can give them a donation for that, for them watching your children, sure would appreciate it. All right, let's go ahead and have a word of prayer. And Invitational is March the 1st. Man, it's coming up so fast. That's our BBCA Invitational, March the 1st. Pastor Lear, where's the biggest need right now for the Invitational?
Concession help?
Concession help. Concession food or just help? All right, food and help. So see Pastor Lear if you can do that. Let's pray. Heavenly Father, Lord, thank you for this night. Thank you for the opportunity we had to look in your word tonight, Lord, just about, Lord, having grace in our conversation and how we treat people and, Lord, how we do ministry and trying to equip people as leaders and trying to influence people as we pass down from generation to generation this faith that was handed to us. And Lord, may we be faithful with it. May we earnestly contend for the faith that was once delivered to the saints. And Lord, I just pray that you'll help us as we go our separate ways to be safe. Bring us back on Sunday, Lord. I'm already so excited as we look further into your word in John chapter 3. May you just bless us the rest of this week and bring us back in unity on Sunday. In your name I pray. Amen. God bless.